Um, testing. Hello. Is my voice good? Let me press a button on the game machine to get the game audio. Wait, this is okay. Yes. No! Why does it stop? Uh, okay, so we left off at the end of an act. Last time this happened, we got someone in the game to give us a story synopsis, so maybe I should not try. Wait, why is my computer going all weird? Okay, the OBS preview window just screwed up. The OBS preview window just screwed up. The emulator is now frozen. Ah! Toggling full screen on and off is not helping. Oh, we're gonna try to reset. Is the feed still coming through? Are we hearing the cool Sega CD music? Yes, we are. Okay. Oh, what about my controller? Ugh, controller's not responding. Oh, for some reason, the emulator saying that the controller got disconnected, which for some reason means it needs to forget all the button bindings I made for it. Ah! Okay. Okay. Yeah. Snatcher 2. So, 5 hours, 10 hours. I must be going through this game at a snail's pace. It's definitely not felt like I played for only 10 hours, because I've been like streaming Snatcher for what, 6 weeks now? But anyways, we're beginning Act 3. The narrative has gotten insane. It really flew off the deep end for a second, and then for one glorious chunk of seconds more, the screen actually said Act 3. Junk. So I'm expecting the narrative to get worse. All of a sudden, it just went off the rails really crazy at the end of Act 2. And I don't know if it really did it in a way as elegant and respectable as is usually associated with Kojima games. Is this the Kojima game about watching boobs? I don't think so. Oh man, I missed all. DK Devil Art, are you showing up here for the first time? Yeah, Snatcher's been a lot of fun. I don't want to say that I've been like gobsmacked at what an amazing masterpiece it is, but it's definitely hitting well above its weight with regards to ambition and also narrative elegance. It has the Kojima qualities going for it. But one thing that I think I've been disillusioned by the whole time is how imitative it is. Metal Gear seems like a bit more of an original concept. Snatcher is not really defying genres in the sense of making a whole new stealth genre spin-off of text-based adventure games. Stylistically, it's also very imitative of its source materials, of Blade Runner and Terminator especially. But like the coherence in the narrative, I want to say is elegant, but I don't know if I would say it's coherent. And by that I mean, I don't think they really, or it seems to me so far, that the lore, the story has not really thoroughly thought out how Snatchers work and what their purpose in the world is and how exactly they get around. I feel like we've heard contradicting lines of dialogue about how Snatchers are virtually indistinguishable from humans. But every now and then you keep hearing that there are actually some pretty big obvious giveaways. One of which not a lot of people talked about is that they're heavy. Apparently they're really heavy. Apparently Snatchers, because I guess they're full of heavy metal robot parts, are heavier than normal people. They also don't like sweat and shed dead skin cells. When you're investigating Snatcher households and Snatcher hideouts, they are immaculately clean, up to the point where they get violent, at which point Snatchers turn into like bloody predator animals. Like the gore, the blood and guts in this game is really, really gratuitous, and I thought this was actually going to be relevant to the characters and the plot lines, that there is something about Snatchers that just turns them into beasts whenever they gotta fight someone. And you find these bodies that are like disemboweled, like heads twisted off, like they're playing with the guts. Like they don't just fight people and they kill people, and they don't just kill people, they play with the viscera. And so I was expecting there to be some like commentary on human nature or something, about how like they're so very human in some respects, but so very barbaric and awful and violent in other respects. And then the twist would be something like, are they that different after all? But it really seems like they're insistent on setting up the Snatchers as more civilized and capable than what I was hoping we would get there. Excuse me one moment again. Right, so Snatchers are supposed to be smart, sentient, conscious, human-like bio-robo-cyborg creatures. They are able to speak and think. They are able to lie. They're actually really good at it. They are able to understand what someone else's point of view would look like, and how they can manipulate it through deception. They have elaborate underground networks of hideaways. They set up a secret hospital, with gazillions of dollars worth of high-tech medical equipment acquired from somewhere, or manufactured or homemade somehow. I think your little robot sidekick said something to that extent. And they also like lay traps for you, but they don't seem that well thought out. There was a Snatcher who was hiding from me in the ceiling of a room, who lets you search through the room thoroughly for like 20 minutes until the end of the gag, when you're allowed to pull the camera up and see the Snatcher on the ceiling. And then I think you shoot him and he dies. The trap doesn't even work. But like, what was he doing up there that whole time? What was his plan? Suddenly a villain got revealed who's like an evil Chinese guy, and there also seems to be this weirdly uncomfortable atmosphere of yellow facing going on in the game about the Chinese characters. And because the villain, there's an undercurrent of yellow panic every now and then when they talk about how the Japanese government was so gracious and honorable and advanced that they set up a new port city that they built on an artificial island specifically to welcome foreigners. And only half the city's population are actual Japanese people. Most of the other half are Chinese. And there's like been some alarm expressed about that for some respects. You have this character named Napoleon, who definitely does not look like Napoleon. He looks and talks and acts kind of like how American anti-Japanese World War II propaganda looked. Napoleon's kind of a funny sidekick, though. But later on in the game, a big bad villain got revealed. And his name, I don't remember what his name is. It's something like Wo Man Yang. It sounds aggressively Chinese. He looks aggressively Chinese. He has a big swirly mustache that he twirls as he explains his plan to you. And the plan had something to do with like replacing the human race to make the world racially pure. By replacing humans with robots, the villains are going to establish the Snatcher ethno-state. That was my attempt at synopsisizing the story so far. Let's see what the actual Snatcher in-game lore has to tell us instead. We're gonna press quit to begin.
With the start of this year's Kyoto Summit just 3 hours away, the delegates from the participating countries are beginning to arrive at the conference center. A major poll of domestic and international opinion carried out
Junk.
just last week shows that the vast majority of respondents favor a complete quarantine of Neo Kobe as a means to combat the risk of the Snatcher menace.
Now that the Chief's death has been confirmed, it won't be long before they strip us of our Junker authorization.
They will be deciding how to handle Neo Kobe at the summit in just 3 hours.
There are rumors that they're going to use nukes on the city to make sure the Snatchers are wiped out.
What? Okay, no, hang on a second.
Come on, this is the 21st century.
Hang on, I'm actually gonna restart because I feel like I missed a very important line of dialogue in there. What was it? The wife. Jamie began her segment with something that sounded more important than I was giving it credence for because I was reading through the Twitch chat on my smartphone. Yes, DK Devil Art. Hello and welcome to the Snatcher streams from Venezuela. I think we got some catching up to do here. A nuke in Japan in this economy. And then, right, so once I realized that I was like kind of distracted and not paying much attention to the game, then suddenly they brought up nukes and I realized that that wouldn't make sense unless the previous line had been absorbed better. Okay, so let's do this again. Act 3, junk. I must get immersed. And play it and appreciate it for the art of it.
With the start of this year's Kyoto Summit just 3 hours away, the delegates from the participating countries are beginning to arrive at the conference center. A major poll of domestic and international opinion carried out just last week shows that the vast majority of respondents favor a complete quarantine of Neo Kobe as a means to combat the risk of the Snatcher menace.
Okay, quarantines to fight the Snatchers.
Been confirmed. It won't be long before they strip us of our Junker authorization.
Maybe that was it.
Deciding how to handle Neo Kobe at the summit in just 3 hours.
There are rumors that they're going to use nukes on the city to make sure the Snatchers are wiped out.
Pause. Okay, I might need a refresher because it's been a week and a half of how the police chief died. Because I'm pretty sure he was the one hiding in the ceiling, and then you shoot him and he runs away, and then you have another fight scene later on, but that's the one I'm kind of blanking on. The memories of that are not fresh. The police chief got snatched. A snatcher stole his identity, and you had to fight him. But I don't remember if he died or if he got away. I almost want to say got away. They were on their way to the Snatcher Summit. I'm gonna bring up Wikipedia and read the synopsis there, because this is also a dense story that you are meant to play through faster. Okay, Act 2. Random joins Gillian and Metal Gear as they travel to a hospital Jean-Jacques identified as suspicious during his investigation. They learn it has been abandoned for several years and harbors a secret basement where they find skeletons of Snatcher victims. Among them, they find Chief Cunningham, meaning the Junker Chief is a Snatcher. Some Snatchers attack the group, but Random distracts them to allow Gillian and Metal Gear to escape. Back at Junker headquarters, Gillian speaks to Harry briefly before he dies, having been mortally wounded by the Chief, and then kills the Chief after Mika is taken hostage. Oh, right! He, has these chains set up that he ties the damsel in distress up in, and you gotta get creative with your shooting minigame. Okay, it's coming back. Immediately after this, Gillian receives a call from Jamie telling him she has regained her memories and is being held in the Kremlin. Yeah. What? Oh, okay, so that was Mika, that was not the wife. Okay, so Mika is saying that the police chief has been died. There's going to be an investigation into it, and they're probably going to strip you of your badge and your gun while they do that. And then she says that there's rumors of nuking Neo Kobe City for the like 6 snatchers in the city. Okay, yeah.
That's ridiculous. Come on, this is the 21st century.
That may not be as improbable as it seems. The world's leaders are extremely concerned about the Snatcher problem.
The chief was going to calm this hysteria in his speech at the summit, but that'll never happen now.
3 months ago, government pressure on Junker operations increased dramatically. Gillian's transfer here was really our last chance.
Our own chief was snatched. It's not too surprising they don't want to trust us anymore.
I've heard that the Army and FBI are going to take over operations now.
They have an FBI in Japan?
That too will be officially decided in 3 hours' time.
I wonder how that got translated.
Is there any way we can find their hideout in that time?
If we don't, we and everybody else in this city are finished.
As far as they're concerned, we're just like a cancerous tumor that has to be cut out.
We have to hit the Snatcher's headquarters before then.
Gillian, can you do it?
If we only knew where it was, I should be able to manage something.
Hitting their outposts like Queen's Hospital won't do any good. We have to find their main nerve center.
What about the memory of that snatcher who was impersonating the chief?
Just like the others, it was completely blanked. It's a form of self-destruct mechanism that they use.
Wait a minute. Mental. What about tracing that video phone call from Jamie?
It was no good. The call didn't last long enough. Still, it definitely did come from within the city.
Damn. Where are they hiding?
Gillian, can't you remember anything at all? Didn't Jamie say something that implied you were somehow connected to the Snatchers?
Nothing. I can't remember a damn thing. Metal, I want you to tell me everything you know about me. Why was I sent to Junker headquarters? Where did I come from?
Gillian.
Metal, the chief's dead. Tell me everything you know about me.
Well, you see...
Metal!
All right. With the chief gone, you are the highest-ranking officer here.
You knew all along.
Of course.
Now you're the chief.
Where were we rescued from?
3 years ago, you and Jamie were taken into protective custody in the Siberian Neutral Zone by the 17th Siberian Investigative Force. More precisely, you were discovered in cryogenic sleep pods in an underground bunker near Moscow.
Cryogenic sleep pods? You mean they were frozen?
This is a photograph of the bunker. There is no record of when you were placed there. In addition,
Oh, from
it
Alien.
was empty at the time you were discovered.
There were 3 pods?
You were revived and taken into custody by the army.
Like the 3 snakes.
As a result of the extended sleep, both of you suffered from complete amnesia. However, another theory suggests your memories may have been intentionally erased. This is the only piece of evidence found at the site.
That's Harry's picture from when he was a kid.
Harry, the engineer?
Harry is Gillian and Jamie's son. It's been confirmed by DNA test.
What?
Harry? Harry was my son?
Using the information gained from the photo, established that you are Gillian's son and your wife, Jamie Lorraine. Both of you are American citizens, born in the late 1960s.
The 1960s?
In addition, both of you vanished without a trace in 1989. There is no other information available about you after that.
1989?
Yes, you come from a world that's been gone for 50 years.
But what does that have to do with the Snatchers?
When the 17th Special Investigative Force was bringing the 2 of you out, there was an accident. Though the 2 of you were all right, most of the 17th was killed. One of them was a Snatcher. Of course, before their departure, they all underwent thorough examinations. So, if one of them was snatched...
It had to be somewhere in Siberia, right?
That's correct. And in order to attempt to determine the origin of the Snatcher, as well as your true identities, you were assigned to Junker headquarters. The hope was that exposure to the Snatchers would help you regain your memories.
Moscow? 50 years ago?
Almost everyone who was in Moscow at the time was killed in the catastrophe.
So Gillian and Jamie are the only living witnesses?
Harry. Harry was my son.
No, it was a
Oh
highly
my
classified
God.
information he was never told.
I was never able to do anything for him.
Holy shit.
Gillian, didn't Jamie say something about taking a boy hostage?
That's right. They must know about Harry and are using him to threaten her.
We have to find their headquarters quickly.
We've only got 3 hours.
Oh God.
Let's think this all
Okay.
through again. We may get some kind of a hint out of it.
You're right. There may be some clue in the way they're operating.
All right, let's go over what we know about them.
Okay. Let's see what happened in chat. Amigo. Pum pum pum. They had a little Spanish soap opera moment. This is why Harry's death was so awkward. It's foreshadowing the twist that you're his dad. To be honest, I think it works better if you do know the twist, since the scene works better for you. But wait, also, wasn't there a problem with earlier versions of the game where they didn't have Act 3? So does that mean that for like 6 years, the Snatcher storyline ended with Harry's weirdly dramatic death? And okay, the other thing they're doing is actually a Death Stranding thing, where the longest cutscenes are front-loaded at these act intermissions. So they even mentioned that this is supposed to take like 3 hours. The idea, is this totally how you're supposed to play Kojima games that are breaking up into acts like this, is you play 1 act per day, so that you can keep it fresh in your memory and also kind of reset your mood for the next day as you have a whole day's worth of palate cleansing before the entertainment manipulates your mood again for 3 hours at a time here. This is fucking wild. Okay, so the police chief's killed. We have like 3 hours to finish up work before the bureaucracy kicks in and takes our badges or something. There's rumors that the army is going to nuke the entire city to take care of the Snatchers. And so far as we know, there are not that many Snatchers around. They're like a small gang of highly expensive specialists that require maintenance. What's the Snatcher's weak point? So I don't know if that's making a whole lot of sense to me right off the bat too. We found out that Junker HQ are the people who are kind of behind the characters' backstories extending years before the game begins, which reminds me a lot of Metal Gear Solid 2. Gillian and Jamie are probably Russians. They might not actually be Snatchers, as I originally expected, but they were cryogenically frozen for 50 years in 1989. Was the technology for that around back then? I don't... So they go to sleep during the fall of the Soviet Union dystopia and wake up in a Japanese... Or, well, no, they do wake up in Eastern Europe, at least. They wake up somewhere in Siberia. So, that's Russia. So, they're not Snatchers, but they're fast-forward-only time travelers. There was always going to be something fishy about them, and I guess that's the big reveal that I was not expecting, is that they were cryogenically frozen. I'm going to press the full screen button and hope that the screen doesn't crap out. First of all, what's the Snatcher's weak point? Oh god, my controller. Okay, infrared rays, ultraviolet rays, X-rays, sun rays, cold. It's the sun rays. Wait, ultraviolet rays? There's 2 correct answers here. I hate tests like this. All right, which one is it? Ultraviolet or sun rays? Which one is the more likely of the 2? It looks like we got video feed, so that's good. Okay, so Jamie and Gillian were cryogenically frozen in 1989. They were born in 1960. They were born in the late 60s. Were frozen in their early 30s in the late 80s. And then they wake up in the same age in the 2050s, where their son is a raggedy old man who's getting ready to retire from his lifelong career. They did a Fallout 4 thing. This is another archetype. This is a trope. What is that called? What is it called where it's a time travel story where the time traveler goes forward in time to meet up with their children when their children are older than they are? Snatchers can survive radiation. In Kojima's world, surely there was the technology. Snatcher Monitor organization being infiltrated by Snatchers might be getting the world leaders reasonably concerned. No, they're right, but the scale also doesn't seem strategically worth, nuking the millions upon millions of other productive, helpful people who can pay taxes in the city. A Futurama, well, this is before Futurama, so really what we're all finding out tonight is that Futurama is a lazy hack fraud ripoff of Snatcher who totally invented this thing for the first time. This is wild. This is absolutely wild. A lot has happened in this game story in the past 10% of game time. I don't know if I want to call it gameplay that I've been given it. So I'm sorry it's taking me a while to catch up, but I gotta catch up. This is a lot, okay? Someone said that UV rays sounds more science-y, and that's probably what Kojima would want to say instead of something simple and borderline universally understood by not even non-English speakers like sun rays. We're gonna pick ultraviolet rays instead. This is the Snatcher's weak point. That's correct. Their weak point is their defective artificial skin. So how would this have been different if we picked sun rays? The melanocytes and the stratum basale, which become cancerous. Long ultraviolet rays is responsible for causing cancer. That's right, and that's the reason they're so limited is when they can come out. Okay. Oh, this is the synopsis. We're getting a synopsis. That's what they're doing here. Oh no, they didn't fix the ozone layer in this timeline. Maybe that's why the nightlife is so vibrant, is because daytime life is toned down. Okay, what method were they using to move and be able to avoid ultraviolet rays and sunlight at the same time? Train tunnels? Underpass, turbo cycle, black taxi. I guess underpass? It's the tunnels. They had a tunnel network set up in abandoned subway tunnels. But that's not what I would call an underpass. But the black taxi also came up to some extent. I don't think it had anything to do with the time of day, though, did it? But the underpass, I don't think ever really came up. They can get cancer. Yeah, they have to use artificial skin that's kind of shitty. It doesn't have as good durability as the real deal. Black taxi sounds racially insensitive. Okay, so let me refresh myself. Why do they like the black taxis? Oh, because they're less subject to government surveillance. But I do not think it was a time of day thing. I guess I'll pick underpass. Oh, the abandoned tunnels of the old tube liner system to get from place to place. Oh man, not only are we also trying to answer the question, we're also trying to kind of fight the translator at the same time. I've seen suspicious answers in both these questions. UV rays and sun rays are the same thing. Underpass is not a subway tunnel. An underpass, when you're underneath a bridge or something. And I don't see a bridge in that picture. What phenomenon was always observed at any location, including the underground tunnels? The pollen. Sneeze. Okay, and this is the thing. This connection with Soviet Russia is something that just seems wild. So what was my plot prediction 3 weeks ago? Was that the Snatchers are a biological nanomachine assassination? No, not assassination. Ideological destabilization weapon. Right. Instead of just posting garbage to social media all day, the Soviet Russians decided to create fancy robot people. Not only that, the Soviets decided to create a microorganism that evolved very quickly for 50 years into Snatchers, who are programmed to assassinate rich Westerners and steal their identities and destabilize the place. That they're a Cold War weapon that was that had spiraled out of control after the fall of the Soviet Union, is what I'm guessing. But then why are they also like yellow face villains? And why do they care about racial harmony? Why are they like racists? Why are the Snatchers racist? Why are the Snatchers from Soviet Russia? Number one is the burning plot question on my mind. Number two is, why are the Snatchers racist yellow face people? What city is related to all three of these pictures? New York! Hey, buddy. These have all been very easy questions, but the answers on two of them were highly suspicious or poorly translated. The basis of their programming. Right, so I would have thought that the Snatchers, if they were a Soviet spying assassination ideological infiltration weapon developed by the Soviets, then they wouldn't be as interested in racism as the Snatchers turned out to be. But maybe that's what we're learning is the unintended consequence of combining human nature with highly advanced technology. What if we accidentally tried to invent cyborg robot people that were just like us in every way, but then they decided to turn against us and kill us because they turned racist? Is that the story that Snatcher is trying to tell us? They were born out of nothing, but they needed to give them some kind of image as an emotional base. Oh, Kojima's talking about memes!
In some place that reminds them of home or their creator.
What part of this city is like Moscow?
Moscow's really cold, right? They get a lot of snow, don't they?
Snow?
Team America quality dialogue.
In several years.
Well, then that's not it.
Wait, what about that pollen? That crystal bioengineered stuff, Snow 9?
Now that you mention it, wasn't it snowing on Jamie's video phone call?
That's right. Their hideout has to be somewhere close to the Ina River.
The Ina River flows for miles around here, Gillian. We could never search it all in time.
Gillian, let's look at a map of the areas investigated so far.
Yeah, they've given us some hints.
This is an enlarged view of the southwest portion of the city around the Ina River. This blue area is that in which Snow 9 is present. Now I'll superimpose a chart of the abandoned tube liner tunnels. From this, we can establish those areas with Snow 9, which are accessible by subway tunnel.
Damn. Nice try, but it's still too large. We could never cover it in 3 hours.
Don't give up so fast, Gillian. What about that image of home thing we were talking about? Maybe there's some kind of geographic similarity. Maybe the same view can be seen or something.
I'll display a map of Moscow alongside.
Yeah, this is
What's
something
this?
I was waiting for them to do, but I didn't know they would be so blatant about it. I thought I'd have to be the one to, like, press the button.
This is the Moscow River over here.
It looks like we're on the right track, Metal. Show us the location
So
that
wait.
Jamie and I were picked up from.
Did whoever designed Neo Kobe make the river look like Moscow?
What was at this location?
The headquarters for the entire Soviet Union, the Kremlin.
The Kremlin? That Snatcher said something about taking Jamie to their Kremlin.
Metal, what spot in Neo Kobe would match up with the location of Moscow's Kremlin?
Calculating. This is the spot. It's presently occupied by an old church. It's rather large, but reports indicate it's been abandoned for nearly 20 years.
Ah, a church.
It's right in the middle of the Snow 9 and subway area.
That's it. That's their headquarters.
Just like the Kremlin.
Gillian, let's go.
St.
Wait, Gillian.
Brosif's
I
Cathedral.
want to go with you.
Sorry, Mika.
Hey, I'm a
Oh, why
junker
is
too,
the
you
voice
know.
acting all
I
different?
know, and you're a great one at that.
Oh
So take me
no,
with you,
are
then.
they trying to be romantic?
We headed to the summit to warn the delegates.
Sepia
Haven't given
tone.
up, you know.
The summit's in Kyoto. I'm not going to be the only one to run.
We're supposed to feel emotionally warm because of those colors on the top.
Found their hideout. There's no need now to sink the whole island.
Yes, but...
It's a tough job. Can you do it?
Okay, Gillian. I'll do what I can.
Thanks. Thank you, Mika.
Don't say it, okay?
Let's go, Gillian.
Gillian?
Yes? What's wrong?
How about dinner sometime?
No!
You know, dinner?
Mika?
Not interested.
That's not the reaction I was
Kick
expecting.
back. Relax. It's Christmas after all.
Dinner?
Christmas, huh?
Yummy.
By then.
Food is good.
Promise, right? I heard you.
Yeah. Okay. But I gotta go to church first.
I like yum yum in my tum tum.
Okay, Metal, let's go.
Oh my god, he even said he has to go to church first. This is the last turbo cycle. Let's go down the menu one at a time, even though the action movie music is playing. And there's a sense of urgency. They said we only have 3 hours to wrap up the plot, or get to the end of the plot, or start climaxing the plot. We have 3 hours to stimulate the plot to climax. I'm cracking myself up at too many of my own jokes tonight. Hang on a second. Let me clear my mind and think about how this spare turbo cycle has not been painted. Harry was my son. Oh, nice. We got a little bit of animation. Church.
I've input the map data.
Didn't say the church
Lift off.
or the address or the neighborhood. It just said church. So Northrop Fry would say that we might be transitioning worlds here.
Flight configuration. Now gaining altitude.
Since we're going to a church and there's this... Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Please be safe.
Please keep in mind that we're working with a strict time limit.
And the rules of the story might work a little different.
Snow!
Snow 9, to be specific. We've entered the Snow 9 region. Please put on your breathing filter. Direct inhalation is dangerous.
All right.
Radio transmissions will also be impossible from this point on. Understood? Now descending. Conversion to hover configuration complete. Gillian, we've arrived.
Yeah, Val, the Ghost in the Shell manga might have been around, but this is actually from 1988. I'm playing a 1994 version, Or am I playing a 1996 version? But the original game and thus the associated story was 1988. There had to have been at least one time travel story where the time traveling adventurer finds a child of theirs all grown up in the future. There has to be at least one of those. What would have happened if we went back to home? Back to HQ. Oh, look at that Kremlin-ass looking church. That is an Orthodox cathedral with domes. Let's listen. How long has the city been around?
All right, now opening the door.
What's wrong? Won't open?
I've scanned it, and it's not locked. It is probably rusted into place.
Not surprising. After all, our friends always go in and out through the basement.
Let's push it together.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Resident Evil. Hey, so if this was 1995, that means that Resident Evil would come out in 1996, 1 year later. Yeah, imagine how behind the times this would have looked in only a matter of 3 years or so. Some kind of chapel for the Snatchers? Who's that anime villain? This Full Metal Alchemist up here. Snatcher's work. Random? No. What? How? The hair. Okay. I guess the anime protagonist used his anime facial recognition abilities. Are you sure? I remember Random Hajile looking like Sting. He had spiky anime hair instead of smooth, sharp anime hair. Yeah, he looks like Android 18. Isn't that the problematic antagonist from Code Veronica? Chairs? Is it? Modnar? The Metal Gear scientist? gender units? The gender units? What is a gender unit? Bum bum bum. Okay, so Gillian and Jamie were rescued by the 17th. This is the 23rd. How many of these Siberian investigative forces are out there? Oh. Are we supposed to be, like, experiencing the beginning of the robot wars from Terminator? Is that what's happening here? Like, are the Terminators... Is this the backstory of Terminator-style sci-fi lore? Terminator take place after the robots destroy the cyberpunk future, and Snatcher takes place when the cyberpunk future is gonna get all fucked up by all the Terminators. I think I clicked everything else, right? Oh, someone asked about the CRT frame overlay. Yeah, that's part of the emulator's CRT filter. It's not RetroArch. I almost kind of wish it was, but I try to resist installing RetroArch because it's large and cumbersome. Oh, I don't think I mentioned earlier that, like, I think they just break their targets in half. Yeah, Pentapenguin, like, I don't think we ever really got... Oh my goodness, there might be female nudity in this game. An explanation on, like, the gore stuff. And one thing that, like, I guess might leave just kind of a sour taste in my mouth is the thought that it's just the pixel artist doing it to indulge. The Snatchers, is it ever explained why they keep human corpses so messy? Will we ever find out? Is it actually part of the story, or is it just gratuitous? They're nearly ready to perform a complete snatch! Oh! Snatch process.
This is where they fuse the artificial skin onto the Snatcher's endostructure. First, they adjust the size of the still skinless Snatcher to the size of the individual who is to be snatched. The Snatcher's overall shape and size can be adjusted by expansion or contraction of sizing rods. Their sex is controlled by gender units, which are installed at this point. Then, the face is modified to match the intended victim by adjusting the size of the upper and lower jaw, cheekbones, temporal bones, and tooth alignment.
Just like Gibson said, that means there are limits to the size of the people that they can snatch.
That's right. The limits of the mechanism mean that they can't snatch children, the elderly, or people who are very tall or heavy. And this is where the artificial muscles attach.
Is it organic?
No. It appears to be coated with a type of plastic gel capable of mechanical response. Like human muscles, it creates mechanical energy through chemical reactions. And this is where the artificial skin is attached. In order to prevent the synthetic cells, developed using biotechnological protein design techniques, from rejecting the inorganic material below, they attach it gradually over a number of days.
And this is the stuff that gets cancer if they stay out in the sun too long.
Finally, they attach body and scalp hair. The process involves transplant of synthetic hair follicles as well, so the hair will grow back if it's lost.
What about scars or birthmarks?
It would appear that they make those adjustments at this point in the process, as they would for wrinkles to simulate age.
Oh, they're like getting them warmed up to sunlight slowly.
So this is where the whole thing begins. The endostructures arrive here from the Kremlin. Then they convert them into copies of their victims. And finally, they head out into the city using the old subway system.
With artificial skin maintenance being handled at Queen's Hospital.
But who's behind all this?
Gillian.
Random Gile, apparently.
Snatchers over here.
Get a load of this. The U.S. President, the Prime Ministers of Japan, and the U.K.
All the world leaders are secretly robot people.
Figures. They were looking to snatch every VIP at the summit.
And the last junker, you. It definitely looks like they plan on moving out beyond Neo-Kobe.
If they were to snatch every major world leader, they'd practically be able to control the planet. Still, that's odd. With their flawed skin, pulling something off like that would really be difficult.
Chin said they had found the key to developing a perfect artificial skin. Maybe they've already produced it.
No idea. But the number of snatchers
But they're heavier.
makes it clear that they're up to something new.
In the real world, that would be noticeable
Definitely their nest.
when they're walking around eating dinner at
Not
restaurants.
until we found Jamie. Metal, how much time do we have left?
People would notice, like they would,
Done by now. We don't
their chairs would be creaking. They would have a lot of accidents and
be able to help. In
fall
fact,
over
we propose
and
to restrain you.
have
I know. If the military
trouble with
wants
balance
to
and
use
stuff.
for a surgical strike on this facility, what would they likely use?
Probably a phased particle beam from one of the attack satellites.
A phased particle beam, huh? That'll wipe this complex right off the map.
That sounds more elegant than a
Everything,
nuke.
including the soil, will simply evaporate. The attack will leave just a large crater.
Metal, can you convince them to give me another hour? Even 30 minutes will help.
Understood. I'll try my best.
And I'll try to find and rescue Jamie in that time.
I can't transmit here due to interference from the Snow 9. I'll have to leave the area and then send the message.
All right, do it, Metal.
Gillian, don't forget. 30 minutes. You must get out before then.
Oh boy.
I understand.
I gotta pee though. I really gotta
Sorry I
pee.
couldn't help you better.
Don't worry about it.
I forgot to save.
By myself anyway. 30 minutes should be plenty. Go, Metal.
I paused the emulator for 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. They're making a big deal about this. That can't just be cosmetic. Okay, we're gonna be on a 30-minute.
30 minutes.
30 minutes! They've said
This
it
is gonna be
5 times.
That room's the only place left to check. Let's take a look.
Okay. You know what, Gillian? Hold that thought. Pause. I'll be right back in 30 seconds. Okay. Now, I'm hoping that the emulator will not screw up its OBS capture when I then return to full screen. Looks like we're getting the Resident Evil door transition. Oh, I gotta shoot insectoids, right. Video game cannon fodder, surprisingly well animated. So what happens when you die? I think that might be the first time I saw that. Prepare for arthritis. They said it so much as 29 minutes now. Oh, we don't have to go back that far. I thought we'd have to load a save. Boy, this is thrilling. How long does this go on for? It's not really interesting or exciting. This is the second time I feel like they've thrown insectoids at us in an extremely video gamey way, but maybe the third time throughout the whole game. But the first time it was like fresh. And, I gotta press the button first to start shooting. I ended up taking a hit because of that. This is also way harder than the previous ones. They like to jump around and fake you out. I feel like the gun is slowing down every 5-6 shots or so, like there's some kind of hidden reload time that I'm feeling out. I had to just mindlessly hammer the fire button because of the dropped inputs. Okay, so it's not just me. There are dropped inputs here. I'm wondering if it's a reload thing. Like if every 6 shots you gotta wait a bit for the 7th or something. You gotta press the holster button too. Like it's hard to tell sometimes when the cutscene has ended and the shooties began. Yeah, these dropped inputs are fucking me up. Maybe I should start counting. Actually, I'm in a rhythm now. Never mind, I guess being in a rhythm. Okay, being in a rhythm helped with the dropped inputs. There's a holster button. Can you run away? No, not. Lock in. Alright, I'll try. Oh, come on. Oh my god. Dropped input! I moved away from it. No! I like activate a slow motion mode on the emulator or something. I feel like I'm not. Whatever challenge they're throwing at me feels like such bullshit that I would not feel bad about cheating my way through this. There were some other shooting galleries that were a lot more interesting than this. Ah! Oh, come on. Maybe this is like, I think I kind of sort of remember something like this happening at the end of Police Knots, where a ridiculous amount of shooting happens. I might as well restart. I'm gonna make a save state at the very beginning of the fight. I don't know. Should I be cheating? Like, it's certainly not complicated. It's just really fast, and at some point you miss an input and it fucks up your rhythm. Come on! You couldn't see it, but I had to mash the button like 3 times for one of those shots to fire, and then it did it again while I was talking about it. It's not a reload thing at all. Okay, never mind.
Whew. I wasn't ready for that.
No, I was not. So yeah, hammer it as in tap it repeatedly, like you're playing a shmup or something. Dear God, can I please save before we do another one of those?
Doesn't look like there's anything here. Whoa!
Oh!
Jeez, these guys are tough. Of course, I didn't exactly expect them to welcome me with open arms. Okay, let's try this next door. Jamie, are you all right?
That was kind of cool.
You came for me.
Are you
They
hurt?
fake you out with
No.
the scene that doesn't happen, and
Not
I
until
wonder what
the
happens if you
process
accidentally shoot Jamie.
Artificial skin research? You?
Gillian, I've got my memory back. All of it.
What happened? Tell me, Jamie.
They said they'd kill him. They said they'd kill Harry. They forced me. I had to help them with the skin development. They said I had to help them because the professor was ill.
There's also a recurring theme in all Kojima games I'm now seeing
Engineer Harry, he's our son.
about
He's been living on his
scientists
own now for 50 years.
getting forced to do development work.
Jamie, I'm afraid that Harry's...
There was nothing I could do. They forced me, but I can't do it anymore.
Jamie!
The professor, he just died. He was over 100.
The professor? What? This old man?
Don't you remember? It's Professor Modner. Professor Petrovich Modner.
What? This old man is Modner?
He's been confined here for 3 years now, just to develop the Snatcher's artificial skin. Terrible. Doing that to your own father.
Whose father? Jamie, I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
You really can't remember, can you?
Jamie, tell me who I am. What were we doing at the Kremlin?
Are you sure you really want me to, Gillian? It's all so awful, but if you must know, I'll tell you. Try to remain calm, okay?
Is she talking to
56
me?
years ago, you and I were involved in a top-secret Soviet project. It was still during the time of the Cold War. The gulf between East and West was as wide as ever. Everybody was worried about nukes. At that point, the world's armies were at their largest ever. Leaders still believed that a strong military meant a strong nation. There were rumors that there would be an agreement to end the production of nuclear weapons. On the other hand, the major powers like the US began to get involved in a space weapons race. But not the Soviets. The conservative despots in the Kremlin had another, completely different idea for gaining military superiority. A horrible plan, something no one else would think of. At that time, the countries of the communist bloc were facing an economic crisis. Popular movements pushing for democracy were springing up all over. Communism itself was facing extinction. Facing pressure from the reformers, the Kremlin began to panic. And that's when that horrible, childish plan was launched.
And imagine the
That was the Snatcher
concept
project.
art sliding across the
You
screen.
use leaders with puppets of your own. Then you control their governments, their economies, take over a country from the inside out.
That's right, Gillian. And to develop these robots, they assembled some of the most brilliant scientific minds from around the world. Some of them were even brought in against their will. At the crux of that development effort was a group called the Frankenstein Project Team. You and I were members of that team, Gillian. It was a 4-person team led by the late Professor Modner here. The robotics expert was Professor Modner himself. His son, Elijah Modner, handled genetics and microbiology.
This is also kind of like the end of Death Stranding.
Picobiology, myself. And for
The hospital room, guy, trench coat man, bursting through the doors with a gun.
development was carried out at a
All the
lab in
plot
Novoselsk,
twists happening.
but was later moved to a secret facility under the Kremlin. At the time, the Glasnost and Perestroika...
This is why Death Stranding
momentum,
is a
and they rightly
game
felt
about
the
being
existence of the
Kojima.
world
It's a game about being a
become
Kojima
known.
game.
But some of the reformers did learn of the project, and they conspired with the US to block it.
It's just about as much Blade Runner as it is Snatcher.
And
how they're all Ouroboros.
The project.
I was CIA?
Yes, and the government knows that. That's why you were assigned to the Junker team.
What? Who am I?
Work on the project continued to go smoothly. But then, on June 6th, 1996, there was that accident. A mysterious explosion at the Chernobyl facility spread a bacterial weapon that was under development there into the atmosphere, destroying the country and the project. Gillian, was it you? Did you set off that explosion?
What?
What? You can't be serious. You think I caused the catastrophe?
Somehow, during the confusion, Professor Modner and our son Harry managed to get picked up by American agents. But we couldn't get out in time, you and I and Elijah. In a shelter below the Kremlin, we entered a cryogenic sleep. Our plan was to sleep there until the toxic effects of the bacteria were safely passed.
And then 48 years later, 3 years ago, we were discovered by the 17th Special Investigative Force.
Yes, but when they found us, Elijah's pod was already empty.
Elijah Modner? That guy whose picture was in the church? The one that looks like Random?
That's right, Elijah is alive. Elijah is here and working on the Snatchers.
Why don't you let me finish your little story?
G-Man?
Who's there?
It's been a while, hasn't it, Jamie?
Wake up and smell the ashes.
And Gillian. It's me, Jamie.
Elijah? Is that really you?
Random? No, not quite.
So you remember me, do you? I am Elijah Modnar, the only son of Professor Petrovich Modnar. I'm afraid I've grown somewhat old and feeble since we last met, however.
Elijah, why are you doing this? Your father, Professor Modner, he passed away a few minutes ago.
What? My father is dead?
Elijah!
I'm kind of confused.
What happened to you? The Elijah I knew could never do anything like this.
I've changed, Jamie. These 40 years have changed me.
I can't believe it. What happened to you?
What happened to me? Jamie, do I actually have to explain it to you? Jamie, it's you. Your beauty is the cause of all that has come to pass here.
What?
57 years ago, I was obsessed with my research, yes, and with you, Jamie. I was still young, having just graduated with my genetic engineering degree. My father's connections got me on the team, and there, I met you. You were working as my father's assistant. Your beauty, your smile, I was stricken. I saw something in you that I never felt with women of my own country. You warmed my cold, young
No!
heart. You opened me up, and I couldn't stop my feelings.
Elijah!
Oh, I was so happy. The political situation was crumbling around us, but every day was a joy. I gained my father's trust, and with you there watching over me, I was able to work as hard as I ever have on the project. However, my happiness did not last for long.
So the Sting guy is this guy's son,
You
Who's-
showed up and all was ruined.
who's the son...
Arrived and joined our project team. Far from home, Jamie
Hang on.
found comfort in a man from the same land. Your relationship grew quickly, and all I could do was stand by and watch.
My God, you have to be kidding me.
Love were joined and even had a child.
Harry.
Even then, my feelings for you only grew stronger.
Nice
Worried
guy.
about me, my father tried to have me removed from the project, but I persisted. Jamie, I always wanted to be near you. And then, the democratic movements that had consumed the rest of the Eastern Bloc spread to our country as well. The Cold War was over. The hardliners who had pushed for its development were stripped of power and the project was cancelled.
Sounds like you were a nepotism connection.
Such a crazed project ordered that all materials related to it be destroyed and that we stand trial for our actions. Jamie and Gillian were to be returned to their homeland. That's about the time that I learned that you, Gillian, that you were a CIA agent and that you were trying to pass documents on our research to your military. The country had sold us out. I'm no politician. I couldn't care less about what happened to the country. All I cared about was my research.
He's Grannon!
Jamie. And I was to lose all
Except
of it, everything.
Grannon wasn't lovesick for...
So young, You cannot understand.
For the hero's love interest.
Was.
Elijah.
Oh my god.
Is when I decided, I swore I would see that secret crazed project through to the end.
He's a mashup of like Granin,
80% finished.
of the MGS4 Big Boss,
The structure was essentially completed, but we still were having trouble with
and
the
also of an anime trope.
area that Jamie and I
The villain from Fist of the North Star was kind of like
called
this.
artificial skin, but there was a
Granin got the shoes from... Yeah, Granin was satisfied. He was not worried.
we needed was keratinized cells.
He didn't seem quite as strung up as
Artificial protein development techniques.
Modnar here.
Full-scale synthetic cell development was very difficult. Research like this took months, years.
Wait, no, I meant that he... Granin didn't decide to take over the world with Snatchers because Tanya just wanted to be friends. That's the difference.
For that reason, a powerful biological agent which could quickly and effectively kill the population of the country was being simultaneously developed.
Lucifer Alpha.
That's right. A type RAO11 virus which another team was developing.
The plot
Someone
element,
else
question mark.
was closely involved in the project. Blowing up the lab was quite a simple task.
Gosh, I'm gonna play through Death Stranding 2 soon, and I do hope that it's not the same story again.
I moved all the materials and records essential to the Bioroid project into the shelter and executed my plan on June 6th.
This low-risk projects to Huey.
I brought the two of you with me to the underground shelter, and we entered a cryogenic sleep. But not before I programmed an atmospheric research satellite to transmit a wake signal when the danger from Lucifer Alpha had passed.
And 10 years later, Lucifer Alpha naturally mutated into a non-toxic form.
But the automatic revival system failed to work.
Oh no, it worked. Just as planned. It revived me 10 years later. A little sooner than the two of you, of course.
But even though you sealed the lab with the explosion and everything, you should have been exposed. Why weren't you?
Oh, I was. But by that time, the vaccine L Angels had already been developed.
So everything went just as you planned it then.
Kinda confused.
Up until that point. But
I've been
my
talking too
real
much.
struggle was yet to come. My original plan was to revive Jamie as well, and for the two of us to finish the development of the Bioroids. You, Gillian, you were to stay asleep forever.
Also, the 20-minute long Kojima cutscenes were not
To do it.
backloaded at the end of the chapter this time.
Peaceful face there in the pod. Besides, I could never have convinced her to work with me on the project anyway. I knew the time was not yet right, so I changed the timers of your pods to permanent on.
How? How could you do such a thing?
And so for the next 40 years, I worked alone in that cold and lonely room under the Kremlin, trying to complete the artificial skin for the Snatchers. For days and days, no one would visit me. I never saw the sun or felt the changing of the seasons. Still, I always had Jamie by my side. You were always there for me to talk to. Just you and I for 40 years in that dark cellar.
Oh, you poor, poor man.
Is that supposed to be sarcastic?
3 years ago, my research was finally completed. First, I snatched the Siberian Special Investigative Forces to establish a transport route for the Snatchers. And then, to test the effect of large-scale snatch operations, I chose Neo-Kobe City to be my experimental sample. Neo-Kobe is cut off from the surrounding areas, a sort of miniature country in itself, making it a perfect test site. And since it's a melting pot of various races, it would also allow me to gather extensive data on Snatcher modification and operational techniques. In addition, the element of suspicion or mistrust, which runs deep in Japanese culture, was another reason I chose this site.
Potentially build a critical flaw in your machine's artificial skin.
Yes, quite unexpected, I'm afraid. All my
The
research
Japanese are such racist pieces of shit that
work day and night to find a
that they'll totally be able to spot who's a snatcher if I screw up.
That's why you decided to bring Professor Modern
Is that what that actually meant, that line?
I discovered my father in one of the government's hospitals. He was old, but still very sound.
Did he pick Japan because
He
they
would not cooperate.
because he thinks they're really good at spotting people by
involved in something like
subtle
that?
differences in skin?
Unable to receive
What?
his assistance, I decided that I had to have
I'm gonna have to rewatch this a second time. I'm sorry.
allowed
I might-
Guilt
I might-
taken into custody.
Am I interpreting this correctly?
Just what are you trying to accomplish, Elijah? You must know you can never get Jamie back.
I'm only interested in discovering what I can of the human animal. In the past, it was because of Jamie. My motive is different now.
It sounds like you're just suffering from the wild arrogance that corrupts so many scientists.
Humans are such weak creatures. No matter how much they trust one another, the tiniest speck of suspicion
Eddie.
can destroy it
Don't
all.
scratch the carpet, buddy boy.
Look at how the Snatcher problem has caused such wild unrest.
And what did he say about Japanese people? That they're like suspicious and mistrustful?
We eventually begin to suspect each other, to hate each other, to kill each other. The Snatchers are nothing more than a tool for bringing out this reaction. I am simply using the Snatchers to elicit the true nature of the human animal. I think this experiment has shown me the limits of human society.
Whenever I get a moment, I'm gonna rewatch this on YouTube as soon as I get a menu or something.
Society ever hopes to reach greater heights. What is needed is an absolute leader, a firm ruler who isn't affected by these trivial episodes of mistrust.
You're crazy if you think people would ever obey Snatchers.
Of course they wouldn't. But if they don't know, they cannot object. There has been a time in every age that the people have longed for a god to lead them. As long as they give the people no reason to suspect them, then they can easily become their gods, indeed, a new race of super beings. We are almost there.
How are you funding this?
Artificial skin, Snatchers will transcend man to become this planet's true human beings.
But you'll never get your perfect skin now. Professor Modner is dead.
I no longer have it.
There's also the fact that they're arguing about getting the perfect skin that's like given this a
I'll be able to make a
certain sort of discomfort aura.
If need be, we could simply culture the keratinized cells, epithelial.
So the Snatchers are on a quest to achieve world dominance and discover the perfect skin.
Artificial skin.
Oh my
You
god.
look at this.
Whoop.
We found this in the rubble of Queen's
Okay,
Hospital.
that looks like random Hajile, right? Bum bum bum.
Random.
Oh, an acquaintance of yours?
He's a Snatcher?
That term isn't exactly accurate. This bioroid was constructed by my father without my knowledge. He modeled it after me in my youth. He built it right here in this facility. And not only that, he programmed it to destroy Snatchers. This bioroid caused me serious difficulties. It's designed and built far better than my Snatchers. The machine itself thought it was human. My father input memories for it all the way back.
Okay,
to
but does he pee and poop?
Those two were apparently mine.
That's a test. You gotta pass the pee and poop test.
Haven't you yet realized? Random Hajil is Elijah Modner spelled backwards. How like my father, silly old man. He did virtually overnight.
It was in front of us all along!
Effort. Furthermore, he makes a bioroid so perfect, even the bioroid itself believes itself to be real. What's more, the cells of the skin he developed are self-replicating. Once in place, no further transplants or culturing is necessary.
Is he dead?
Its main and locomotive systems are completely shut.
Wait, was there also a father and son feud? With the son using the father's technology to destroy it?
We need. With this, we can move to phase 2 of our plan of full-scale infiltration of the world's major nations.
Yeah, random Hajil spelled backwards is
What does the summit matter?
Lija
Nothing holds us
Modnar.
back now that we have this perfect skin. We
At least we got
go anywhere
Modnar.
we want, and there will be no way to tell us apart. I will have free control.
What about the weight,
of the
though?
world. Nothing will be able to stop me.
What if you try to sit in a chair and it breaks? Everyone laughs at you at the dinner table.
My will alone will decide the course of human history.
You egomaniac. Do you think you can snatch the entire population?
There's a fully automated Snatcher factory under the Kremlin. Even as we speak,
How is it funded?
Snatchers are being born.
But no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to snatch the people's heart and soul.
Ah!
What do you gain from this anyway?
Jamie, the human race is composed of fools. But I'm different. I will be its savior. Indeed, not just of mankind, but of all life on the planet.
I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Metal!
In 10 minutes, this church will be struck by a phased particle beam. I am guiding the beam from the attack satellite using GPS and 15 navigational satellites. The beam cannot miss. Everything in a 2 to 3 kilometer radius from me will be destroyed.
Stop this foolishness now. I will not have my research destroyed by some souped-up pocket calculator.
Metal, what happened at the summit?
The delegates, worried about the Snatcher menace, voted unanimously to allow the use of nuclear weapons on the city. The military is presently imposing a quarantine on Neo-Kobe.
What? Do they intend to kill everybody?
The populace is in a state of panic. However, they have agreed to lift the quarantine if this church is struck by the phased particle beam. This is our last chance. I will handle things here. Gillian, Jamie, you two must flee.
You insignificant mass of metal. You'll never...
One move and I detonate. Gillian, run!
Metal, this is crazy!
We can't let a single Snatcher get out of here. And this new artificial skin has to be destroyed as well.
I will not allow some talking scrap pile to get away with this. If you were the aiming point for the beam, then I'll just have you thrown out of here. Grab this little one and take him out of here.
I have to shoot now. Oh, they're trying to edit.
Metal!
Cowardly little robot.
You always were a real pain in the butt.
What's that?
We also didn't get any screen time with the other son. Like, that's really weirded me out. He was just revealed,
Deactivated.
and then he died in his deathbed
Lazy old man.
in like 60 seconds.
Stop this foolish...
Shut up! Let's try to make our final moments peaceful, shall we? And you Snatchers, you touch the little guy and the old man's head comes off. Random! I've always hated being used. Why don't you watch the final act with me?
So, does Random still not know he's a Snatcher? I really hope that he gets to go out in another blaze of glory without knowing the truth.
I don't care if I'm an original or a copy or what.
Oh, never mind, he knows.
Die right here. If we both die, there won't be a copy anymore now, will there?
He is Gray Fox, yeah. Yeah, especially because he is like a cyborg who got blown up and brought back to life, right?
It's my will.
Machines have no will. Machines cannot sacrifice themselves.
We'll see about that.
Oh no,
You have 4 minutes.
it's a Philip K. Dick thing.
Don't forget to take care of the
Wait, 4 minutes? 30? Oh, 3 hours?
Memories in my
These cutscenes are so long so that they can fit the times they were talking about.
Memories of our time together are all too real, Random.
Gillian, you become one hell of a junker.
Gillian,
I'm a junker.
most recreational be your partner.
Oh, Metal.
If you can, try to pick up the pieces for me, okay? Like we did for Little John.
Little John? Oh. Okay, Metal.
Hurry! You only have 3 minutes.
That's awesome.
Thanks, you
Yeah,
two.
like,
Jamie.
of course Metal would remember Little John way better than the rest of us do.
No! Don't let her go! No!
You pathetic old fool. You don't even know how to love someone.
You stupid machine! What is that idiot?
There's these cheesy lines that are hitting hard.
By snatching you, I'm finally gonna get my real self back.
Random.
And his real self is a, like, generational revenge arc.
You don't owe me any thanks. Sorry to get you involved in such a big job. You did great. You're a hell of a junker.
3, 2, 1, here it comes!
Later, kid!
Wait, are those buildings okay? I thought the idea was they're just gonna get the church. Okay, Gray Fox. 2 to 3 kilometers.
So you're really going, aren't you?
It's our responsibility, too. Besides, if I go to Moscow, I may get some of my memory back. And if that happens...
Now it's like the end of Metal Gear Solid 4
again.
again. This game's Metal Gear Solid 4. This game's Death Stranding.
Destroy this terrible factory of theirs. Jamie, when I get back, let's try living together again. What do you say?
Wait, what about Mika, though? Didn't you agree to go on a date with Mika?
We'll be waiting for you, too.
Katrina! Mika! You're here too?
You better be happy, Buster, with all these beautiful women seeing you off.
I'm happy you came. Let me introduce my wife.
Jamie Seed. I suppose it's a little odd introducing myself a second time, though.
What do you mean? You've never met them before, have you?
What are you talking about, Gillian? We're good friends.
Huh? Since when?
It's the first time I've met her in person, but I've spoken with her on the video phone a lot of times.
What? Have you guys been talking about me behind my back?
Yeah, okay. Hold this thought. I'm gonna pause the game and load up a YouTube window. Or maybe I should Snatcher game script. It will be faster if I can read through it instead of scrolling through a video. Okay. Also, I might want to go to the bathroom again. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'll be right back. And then I'm just gonna try to understand the story of Snatcher. Okay. So the Snatchers are actually not as sentient and cognizant and under their own self-control as I thought. They were actually being controlled by a human man who is an ex-Soviet scientist who was working, as I predicted, on the Snatchers as a Cold War social destruction machine. But what was this thing about him also working on the death virus? On the horrific plague that killed millions of people? I thought he explained that it was still an accident that made that happen, but that he was working on the virus that did get released by accident. But someone in the Twitch chat said that he was like responsible, so I kind of might have missed that one. Okay, well the text dump actually doesn't have dialogue because of that dialogue. Audio file instead of text. Snatcher, Sega CD, full play. Oh, look at this, 4 hours and... That's definitely not how long it took me. Okay, so we're gonna skip
What in the world?
to the end.
The highest ranking officer here.
You knew all along?
One of them was a Snatcher.
Oh, I could also get an exact time reading on how long it has been since a option to press a button on a menu came up. Okay, so on this playthrough I'm seeing on YouTube, the options will come up at 4 hours and 42 minutes in. After previously, what was it? We had a gunfight in a hallway against robots. They were awful. 4 hours and 13. That really is 30 minutes! That really actually was a 30-minute long Kojima cutscene at the end of the game! My wife, the ladies have a group chat. Traces of Snatcher can be felt in a variety of subsequent media by different authors. Okay, Modner unleashed the plague to stop them from shutting the Snatcher project down and to stop Jamie from leaving.
Of course, before their departure, they all underwent thorough examination.
Okay.
I thought it would be nice.
So this is where the whole thing begins.
So happy.
Now the villain's speech,
Destroying the country.
and then Jamie like gives us some history exposition dump.
Tough. Of course, I didn't.
All right, OBS I don't think can capture. Man, I might need to be adjusting my stream with the feed that's on the stream instead of OBS. But I'm going to try to get a window capture of Firefox picture-in-picture window. Okay. Is it showing up? Yes. Oh my god, it actually is. All right, we're going to set playback speed to 2 times. So we're going to crank it.
Exactly expecting to welcome me with open arms. Okay, let's try this next door.
Hey, wait. Want to point out, Death Stranding does something like that, where you like get to the damsel in distress at the very end of the game, and then for some reason the game comes up with some circumstances for you to pull a gun on her, and you as the player gotta like remember not to shoot her. I really wonder what happens. I guess they're not going to do it in the video, but I just want to point out all the Kojima-isms. I am now realizing with a certain bit of exhaustion, I think, in the statement, that Kojima really has kind of sort of been remaking the same story in various different circumstances over and over and over again. For anyone who's noticed that Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe not quite as much 4, Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, Peace Walker, are extremely similar stories. Apparently, in like this very frame, actually, like I almost wonder if this shot was referenced in Death Stranding. This looks so much like the ending sequence of Death Stranding, where hot babe is in a hospital room with a dad who is going crazy from getting hit with a bunch of plot revelations. For some reason, he's wearing a trench coat and has a little science fiction pistol, and he's a Blade Runner man. A Blade Runner man bursting through a hospital to end the Kojima game happens at the end of Death Stranding. And in Death Stranding, it's there's like a sequence of movie references at the end of Death Stranding where the Blade Runner man bursts through and it kind of looks like Blade Runner, and then the camera zooms out a bit and shows a baby floating in space to reference 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it's about the Ouroboros of artistic inspirations. But now it's kind of blowing my mind that in that like concentric Windows solitaire animation of media art history influences getting stamped on top of each other, filling up the screen, there was also a layer of Snatcher. There was absolutely a layer of Snatcher in Death Stranding that I was formerly unaware of, that I am now seeing as well. It's not as big a focal point of the Kojima history that game is about like Metal Gear is, but it is in there. It is for sure in there. That makes me wonder if Boktai and I know some Zone of the Ender stuff shows up. That makes me wonder if any Castlevania Lords of Shadows stuff shows up in any Death Stranding. Anyways, let's continue on.
Jamie, are you all right?
Gillian, you came for me.
Are you hurt?
No, they won't lay a finger on me. Not until the new artificial skin is completed anyway.
Artificial skin research? You?
Gillian, I've got my memory back. All of it.
What happened? Tell me, Jamie.
They said they'd kill him. They said they'd kill Harry. They forced me. I had to help them with the skin development.
Scientist is forced to work on the villain's doomsday plan.
He's been living on his own now for 50 years.
Jamie, I'm afraid that Harry's...
There was nothing I could do. They forced me, but I can't do it anymore.
Jamie!
The professor, he just died. He was over 100.
The professor? What? This old man?
Blah, blah.
It's Professor Modner. Professor Petrovich Modner.
What? This old man is Modner?
He's been confined here for 3 years now, just to develop the Snatcher's artificial skin. Terrible. Doing that to your own father.
Whose father? Jamie, I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Hang on. No, wait, what was that?
Terrible. Doing that to your... just to develop the Snatcher's art... He's been confined here for 3 years now, just to develop the Snatcher's artificial skin.
Okay, so the good father has been captured in captivity by the bad son, who is going to get killed by the good grandson, who the good father engineers to be a sabotage bioroid in revenge for being taken prisoner and forced to work on the villain's doomsday machines.
Terrible. Doing that to your own father.
Whose father? Jamie, I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
You really can't remember, can you?
Jamie, tell me who I am. What are we doing at the Kremlin?
Are you sure you really want me to, Gillian? It's all so awful, but if you must know, I'll tell you. Try to remain calm, okay? 56 years ago, you and I were involved in a top-secret Soviet project.
This is going to be 15 minutes. If this is a 30-minute long Kojima cutscene and we're speeding it up by twice,
It was still during the time of the Cold War.
we might gotta go harder.
Everybody was worried about nukes. At that point, the world's armies were at their largest ever. Leaders still believed that a strong military meant a strong nation. There were rumors that there would be an agreement to end the production of nuclear weapons. On the other hand, the major powers like the US began to get involved in a space weapons race. But not the Soviets. The conservative despots in the Kremlin had another, completely different idea for gaining military superiority. A horrible plan, something no one else would think of. At that time, the countries of the communist bloc were facing an economic crisis. Popular movements pushing for democracy were springing up all over. Communism...
Wait. Also, the third generation sabotaging and self-destructing the evil machinations of the second generation, who ended up spiraling an already pretty stupid plan out of control from the first generation. That's the snakes, the snake generations. It's Solid Snake destroying the Patriots because the Patriots were put into plan by Major Zero as a misinterpretation of something that Naked Snake and the boss were up to. Yeah, it's all the same. It's all the same. I really have been playing a Metal Gear game on Metal Gear Mondays. They just call it Snatcher.
Itself was facing extinction. Facing pressure from the reformers, the Kremlin began to panic. And that's when that horrible, childish plan was launched.
And that was the Snatcher Project. Replace your enemies' leaders with puppets of your own. Then you control their governments, their economies, take over a country from the...
Wait, did she call it a childish plan?
And that...
Springing up all over. Communism itself was facing extinction. Facing pressure from the reformers, the Kremlin began to panic. And that's when that horrible, childish plan was launched.
Childish
And that was
plan.
the Snatcher Project. Replace your enemies' leaders with puppets of your own. Then you control their governments, their economies, take over a country from the inside out.
That's right, Gillian. And to develop these robots, they assembled some of the most brilliant scientific minds from around the world. Some of them were even brought in against their will. At the crux of that development effort was a group called the Frankenstein Project Team. You and
I don't know if this is less convoluted than Metal Gear. This feels more convoluted because I'm having to keep track of 50 years worth of fake history. In Metal Gear, it's just like a couple years of fake history. In Metal Gear, you don't have to cross-reference the real Cold War history against 50 years of cyberpunk sci-fi history. And I feel like I'm having a lot of trouble here, especially because there's a kind of cryogenic time travel element involved where like the generational family tree that I'm picturing kind of looks like a dome or a teardrop because the earlier generations keep living and then die after the younger generations.
I were members of that team, Gillian. It was a 4-person team led by the late Professor Modner here. The robotics expert was Professor Modner himself. His son, Elijah Modner, handled genetics and microbiology. For nanobiology and picobiology, myself. And for behavioral science and psychology, you, Gillian. Early development was carried out at a lab in Novosibirsk, but was later moved to a secret facility under the Kremlin. At the time, the glasnost and perestroika movements were gaining momentum, and they rightly feared for the existence of the program if it should become known. But some of the reformers did learn of the project, and they conspired with the US to block it. Gillian, you were a CIA special agent sent by the United States to infiltrate and sabotage the project.
I was CIA?
Yes.
Wait! Oh, this is awesome, though, because that also means that, like, Gillian himself is kind of like a Snatcher. The Snatchers are robot spies who kill and impersonate people as like a Cold War weapon. Gillian is a CIA spy, in his past life at least, who was designed to infiltrate into the Russian scientists and sabotage their project. This is symmetry. He is fighting against a worse version of himself in order to find himself. This is an archetypal story that done by someone who seems to know ahead of time at least how to like make a good conventional thriller that pushes mass audience buttons. Yeah, the symmetry of like the heroes and the villains and how it all recycles back to daddy trauma issues is effective Kojima storytelling.
That's why you were assigned to the Junker team.
What? Who am I?
Work on the project continued to go smoothly. But then, on June 6th, 1996, there was that accident. A mysterious explosion at the Chernobyl facility spread a bacterial weapon that was under development there into the atmosphere, destroying the country and the project. Gillian, was it you? Did you set off that explosion?
What? You can't be serious. You think I caused the catastrophe?
Somehow, during the confusion, Professor
Oh, yeah, okay. So she would have thought that because he was kind of sort of a saboteur as a CIA agent from the West. I was also really confused about why she would have brought that up in the heat of the moment, but that's because I was probably talking out loud and some of the details. Yeah, so Jamie is a little suspicious of Gillian that he might have accidentally unleashed the weapon virus that killed millions. But Gillian still clearly has no real idea anyway of what's going on.
Managed to get picked up by American agents, but we couldn't get out in time, you and I and Elijah. In a shelter below the Kremlin, we entered a cryogenic sleep. Our plan was to sleep there until...
Hang on.
Professor Modner and our son... Somehow, during the confusion, Professor Modner and our son Harry managed to get picked up by American agents, but we couldn't get out in time, you and I and Elijah. In a shelter below the Kremlin, we entered a cryogenic sleep. Our plan was to sleep there until the toxic effects of the bacteria were safely passed.
And then 48 years...
Hang on.
Accident. A mysterious explosion go smoothly.
Okay, so no, we can skip ahead. The explosion is still mysterious at this part of the narrative.
You can't be serious. You think I caused the catastrophe?
Because I just want to like verify that the villain really did unleash the virus that killed millions of people on planet Earth and got away with it for like 50 years because of rejection. I just want to confirm if he does say that, if I remember right. Because that would be outrageous.
Somehow, during the confusion, Professor Modner and our son Harry managed to get picked up by American agents, but we couldn't get out in time, you and I and Elijah. In a shelter below the Kremlin, we entered a cryogenic sleep. Our plan was to sleep there until the toxic effects of the bacteria were safely passed.
And then 48 years later, 3 years ago, we were discovered by the 17th Special Investigative Force.
Yes, but when they found us, Elijah's pod was already empty.
Elijah Modner? That guy whose picture was in the church? The one that looks like random?
That's right, Elijah is alive. Elijah is here and working on the Snatchers.
Why don't you let me finish your little story?
Who's that?
I'm gonna look up the voice actor and see if it's the... Doubt it will. Man, voice actor. Make sure. Elijah Police Knots, voice actor. Ray Van Steen. He does sound like more of a professional actor than some of the other voice actors. I thought he was He-Man.
It's been a while, hasn't it, Jamie? Ah, yes, and Gillian. It's me, Jamie.
Elijah, is that really you?
Random? No, not quite.
So you remember me, do you? I am Elijah Modnar, the only son of Professor Petrovich Modnar. I'm afraid I've grown somewhat old and feeble since we last met, however.
Elijah, why are you doing this? Your father, Professor Modner, he passed away a few minutes ago.
What? My father is dead?
Elijah, what happened to you? The Elijah I knew could never do anything like this.
I've changed, Jamie. These 40 years have changed me.
I can't believe it. What happened to you?
What happened to me? Jamie, do I actually have to explain it to you? Jamie, it's you. Your beauty is the cause of all that has come to pass here. 57 years ago, I was obsessed with my research, yes, and with you, Jamie. At the time, I was still young, having just graduated with my genetic engineering degree. My father's connections got me on the team, and there, I met you. You were working as my father's assistant. Your beauty, your smile, I was stricken. I saw something in you that I never felt with women of my own country. You warmed my cold, young heart, Jamie. You opened me up, and I couldn't stop my feelings.
Elijah.
Oh, I was so happy. The political situation was crumbling around us, but every day was a joy. I gained my father's trust, and with you there watching over me, I was able to work as hard as I ever have on the project. However, my happiness did not last for long. Gillian, it was you. You showed up and all was ruined. You arrived and joined our project team. Far from home, Jamie found comfort in a man from the same land. Your relationship grew quickly, and all I could do was stand by and watch. Jamie and Gillian fell in love, were joined, and even had a child.
Harry.
Even then, my feelings for you only grew stronger. Worried about me, my father tried to have me removed from the project, but I persisted. Jamie, I always wanted to be near you. And then, the democratic movements that had consumed the rest of the Eastern Bloc spread to our country as well. The Cold War was over. The hardliners who had pushed for its development were stripped of power and the project was cancelled. The reformers trying to cover up the existence of such a crazed project ordered that all materials related to it be destroyed and that we stand trial for our actions. Jamie and Gillian were to be returned to their homeland. That's about the time that I learned that you, Gillian, that you were a CIA agent and that you were trying to pass documents on our research to your military. The country had sold us out. I'm no politician. I couldn't care less about what happened to the country. All I cared about was my research and Jamie. And I was to lose all of that, everything. For someone so young, you cannot understand how great of a shock that was.
Elijah.
That is when I decided. I swore I would see that secret crazed project through to the end. At the time, the pyroids were 80% finished. The main part, their endostructure, was essentially completed. But we still were having trouble with the artificial skin, the area that Jamie and I were assigned to. We called it artificial skin, but there was of course no need to duplicate T lymphocytes, Langerhans cells, or endocrine cells. All we needed was keratinized cells and melanocytes to provide the pigment. With the artificial protein development techniques that we had in those days, full-scale synthetic cell development was very difficult. Research like this took months, years. The original project called for us to simultaneously snatch an entire country. In other words, a whole nation or an entire city had to be snatched over the course of one night. For that reason, a powerful biological agent, which could quickly and effectively kill the population of the country, was being simultaneously developed.
Wait, yeah, but what was the reason? He said for that reason the Doomsday virus was developed.
Snatch an entire country. In other words, a whole nation or an entire city had to be snatched over the course of one. The original project called for us to simultaneously snatch an entire country. In other words, a whole nation or an entire city had to be snatched over the course of one night. For that reason, a powerful biological agent, which could quickly and effectively kill the population of the country, was being simultaneously developed.
Lucifer Alpha.
That's right. A type RAO11 virus which another team was developing. For someone like myself, who was closely involved in the project, blowing up the lab was quite a simple task.
My God.
Okay, no, hang on.
And Gillian.
The Snatchers weren't developed to kidnap and impersonate rich people. They were developed to kidnap and impersonate entire populations?
Was still young, having just graduated with my genetic engineering degree.
Entire cities at a time?
Beauty, never young heart, Jamie. Situation was crumbling fast, and with you there, project. For long. Gillian, it was you. You showed up and all was ruined. You arrived, and only grew stronger. It's over. The hardliners who had pushed for its development were stripped of power and the project was cancelled. The reformers trying to cover up the existence of such a crazed project ordered that all materials related to it be destroyed and that we stand trial for our actions. Jamie and Gillian were to be returned to their homeland. That's about the time that I learned that you, Gillian, that you were a CIA agent and that you were trying to pass documents on our research to your military. The country had sold us out. I'm no politician. I couldn't care less about what happened to the country. All I cared about was my research and Jamie. And I was to lose all of that, everything. For someone so young, you cannot understand how great of a shock that was.
Elijah.
That is when I decided. I swore I would see that secret crazed project through to the end. At the time, the pyroids were 80% finished. The main part, their endostructure, was essentially completed. But we still were having trouble with the artificial skin.
The other thing that I find hard to makes sense here is that the robots were done in 1989. Or was it 96? Because this game was made in 88 and the Soviet Union hadn't fallen. 96? It seems too early for Terminator robots to be mostly complete, except for the artificial skin that makes them look like famous Hollywood actors.
The area that Jamie and I were assigned to. We called it artificial skin, but there was of course no need to duplicate T lymphocytes, Langerhans cells, or endocrine cells. All we needed was keratinized cells and melanocytes to provide the pigment. With the artificial protein development techniques that we had in those days, full-scale synthetic cell development was very difficult. Research like this took months, years. The original project called for us to simultaneously snatch an entire country. In other words, a whole nation, or an entire city had to be snatched over the course of one night. For that reason, a powerful biological agent, which could quickly and effectively kill the population of the country, was being simultaneously...
Okay, no, that's the line.
For that reason, a city had to be snatched over the course... Research like this took months, years. The original project called for us to simultaneously snatch an entire country.
Yeah, he just dropped that. In the middle of all these plot twists, something like that got dropped. The original project called for us to snatch an entire country. That seems unsustainable and in contradiction to what we have seen so far throughout the entire game, which is that the Snatchers practice stealth and restraint up until it comes time to, like, kill someone in a quiet, abandoned room with no one around, all by themselves. Then they get messy with the blood and guts. But otherwise, like, they're about subterfuge and sabotage, and they target individuals, and it seems like a very expensive operation that would not be able to be scaled up. So he just casually dropped that the Soviets were working on Snatchers as a weapon of mass destruction instead of a subtle weapon of individually targeting assassination stuff, impersonation. No, Snatchers are meant to kill thousands of people at a time, apparently. See, I really, like, I feel like I'm going back and forth on the quality of this. It's not Kojima's best, but it is a very fun Kojima story where a lot of Kojima's qualities, as opposed to his weaknesses, are on display. Those qualities are just not at full power. This is Kojima at like 65%, powering his way up to Metal Gear Solid 1.
The original project called for us to simultaneously... Very difficult. Research like this took months, years. The original project called for us to simultaneously snatch an entire country. In other words, a whole nation, or an entire city had to be snatched over the course of one night. For that reason, a powerful biological agent, which could quickly and effectively kill the population...
Well, but he's saying snatch. The virus was the mass destructive thing. He's saying snatch a whole population, not kill a whole population or wipe out a whole population. Snatch as in, like, kidnap and impersonate and then live their lives as them. So the idea is that the virus kills the people and then the Snatchers replace them, in which case they would still need thousands of Snatchers shipped off of an assembly line, and like the information technology, the telecommunications technology is just the 80s and 90s. I don't know if it would have been there to control thousands upon thousands of robots. We're meant to clean up viral bodies. Snatches just replace kidnap.
Simultaneously developed.
Lucifer Alpha.
That's right.
Okay. Because I'm still not really understanding the logic. Why? Now I'm starting to ask why even bother developing Snatchers? If you want to kill thousands of people at a time, they have nukes. Why are the Snatchers?
A powerful biological agent, which could quickly and effectively kill the population of the country. The original project called for us to simultaneously snatch an entire country. In other words, a whole nation, or an entire city had to be snatched over the course of one night. For that reason, a powerful biological agent, which could quickly and effectively kill the population of the country, was being simultaneously developed.
Lucifer Alpha.
That's right. A Type RA11 virus which another team was developing. For someone like myself, who was closely involved in the project, blowing up the lab was quite a simple task.
My God, Elijah, do you know what you're saying? That explosion killed half the world's population.
Someone like myself, who was closely involved in the project, blowing up the lab was quite a simple task.
My God, Elijah, do you know what you're saying?
Was that the admission?
Blowing up the lab was quite a simple task.
Yeah, that also kind of sailed over my head the first time through because it doesn't sound like he's really admitting to it. He just says that it would have been simple if he did it.
My God, Elijah, do you know what you're saying? That explosion killed half the world's population.
I moved all the materials and records essential to the Bioroid project into the shelter and executed my plan on June 6th. After setting off the lab, I brought the two of you with me to the underground shelter.
Setting off the lab, I guess that's the admission. He is really underplaying it, though.
And we entered a cryogenic sleep. But the night before, I programmed an atmospheric research satellite to transmit a wake signal when the danger from Lucifer Alpha had passed.
And 10 years later, Lucifer Alpha naturally mutated into a non-toxic form.
But the automatic...
Okay, so that would be 2006. So in 2006, he wakes up after 10 years of sleep, but Jamie and Gillian have to keep going through 20 more years?
survival system failed to work.
Oh no.
So Jamie... Oh, that means that this is 2026. This is the year where Jamie and Gillian are supposed to wake up from cryogenic
Oh
sleep.
no, it worked. Just as planned. It revived me 10 years later. A little sooner than the two of you, of course.
Ocelot's birthday? June 6th? Okay, no, that means that something must have happened in real life on June 6th that Kojima's associating with these characters somehow. Maybe it's a historical event, but it might be personal and no one knows. But and maybe even he doesn't know. Maybe there's some extremely subtle coincidence in his brain goop that caused his thinking to land on that date both times. Either way, there's some significance there. That's not a coincidence. There is design there.
But even though you sealed the lab with the explosion and everything, you should have been exposed. Why weren't you?
Oh, I was. But by that time, the vaccine L Angels had already been developed.
So everything went just as you...
Wait, hang on.
But even though you sealed the lab with the explosion and everything, you should have been exposed. Why weren't
You should have been exposed. Okay, but they just also said that the virus mutates over time to a benign form. So the virus particles floating... The bacteria, it was a bacteria, not a virus. Oh, that sounds wonderful, actually. I would much rather have to deal with it. It mutates into a safe form. So we... And then, yeah, that's the other thing, is that, like, what Gillian's saying here is kind of sort of contradicting one of the punches that we just got hit with one of these plot twists, and now, yeah, I was losing a lot of this the first time I saw it.
you? Oh, I was. But by that time, the vaccine L Angels had already been developed.
So everything went just as you planned it then.
Yes, up until that point. But my real struggle was yet to come. My original plan was to revive Jamie.
Wait, 6606? Wait, does that mean that Ocelot was born on 6666? Wait, no, Operation Snake Eater took place in, like, 64, right? So wait, was Ocelot born in 46 or something? Shinji Ikari. Knowing Kojima, it's the birthday of the girl he fell in love with in elementary school.
And for the two of us to finish the development of the bioroids. You, Gillian, you were to stay asleep forever. But I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Not after looking at Jamie's peaceful face there in the pod. Besides, I could never have convinced her to work with me on the project. Anyway, I knew the time was not yet right, so I changed the timers of your pods to permanent on.
How could you do such a thing?
Oh, right. I'm sorry, I forgot. Ocelot was born in Normandy during D-Day on a battlefield via emergency C-section. Excuse me, that's right. The little bit of minutiae.
Years, I worked alone in that cold and lonely room under the Kremlin, trying to complete the artificial skin for the Snatchers. For days and days, no one would visit me. I never saw the sun or felt the changing of the seasons. Still, I always had Jamie by my side. You were always there for me to talk to. Just you and I for 40 years in that dark cellar.
Oh, you poor, poor man.
That was sarcasm.
3 years ago, my research was finally completed. First, I snatched the Siberian Special Investigative Forces to establish a transport route for the Snatchers.
Okay, and now I have to start asking who's funding for this. I thought that most of Eastern Europe was an irradiated wasteland, hence why shipments going in and out would be a big deal. They would need a special team. But that would also mean that him doing all this by himself does not seem possible. Like, wasn't the lab there were bombs. There was a World War III fought over these territories, but he was doing Snatcher research in Moscow for 30 years by himself. No money.
And then, to test the effect of large-scale snatch operations, I chose Neo Kobe City to be my experimental sample. Neo Kobe is cut off from the surrounding areas, a sort of miniature country in itself, making it a perfect test site. And since it's a melting pot of various races, it would also allow me to gather extensive data on Snatcher modification and operational techniques. In addition, the element of suspicion or mistrust, which runs deep in Japanese culture, was another reason I chose this site.
But your test revealed a critical flaw in your machine's artificial skin.
Yes, quite unexpected, I'm afraid. I'd like to find
Can I hear that again?
modification and operational techniques. In addition, the element of suspicion or mistrust, which runs deep in Japanese culture, was another reason I chose this site.
So, again, we have to like work our way through some ridiculous villain logic while also cross-referencing it against something ridiculous and stupid from real life. In addition, the element of suspicion and mistrust in Japanese culture is a reason I chose that. So that would mean that that would mean that he specifically chose Japanese people as a test subject to test Snatchers on because he thinks that they would be a good test. Because they're so good at spotting subtle racial differences between humans, or so he thinks. But then again, at the same time, wouldn't that actually be a really bad place to test it? Because your plan would get found out sooner than everywhere else if what you thought were true. If this guy was correct, that the Japanese people are so incredibly racist that they can spot minor subtle differences in people from a mile away, and therefore would be a good testing ground for Snatchers, wouldn't it mean that they would be able to spot who's a Snatcher right away? So in order to like understand, or try to understand the villain's perspective, you really gotta twist your brain into a noodle here to try and see things from his incredibly stupid point of view. See, okay, in Metal Gear Solid 3, the villain is an idiot, and the story is really unapologetically about it, but this time it seems like the villain's supposed to be a kind of evil genius, but he's also an idiot? So, it's like... It's not really coming together elegantly. It's coming together excitedly. I felt chills, I felt emotions, I got goosebumps. My moods and emotions were being skillfully manipulated. But when you stop to think about it, it does kind of fall apart. More than Metal Gear does.
But your test revealed a critical flaw in your machine's artificial skin.
Yes, quite unexpected, I'm afraid. All my research for 40 years. I gathered data and worked day and night to find a solution, but nothing seemed to work.
So that's why you decided to bring Professor Modner here, right?
That's correct. I discovered my father in one of the government's hospitals. He was old, but still very sound of mind. Naturally, he would not cooperate with me.
Of course not. He'd never become
This is like another thing that I really lost the plot, is like the multi-generational Madnars here. What, we got like 4 of them to keep track of. There's Madnar Sr., who's in bed and dying, or dead by now. Madnar Middleman, who's in the chair, and he has goopy robot legs now. And then there's the son of Madnar Sr., who is Random Hajile, who's destined to throw a wrench in the generational cycle. That makes 3, not 4, But Gillian was kind of going through something similar with finding out that he had a son all along he didn't know about.
Years. I gathered data and worked day and night to all my research for 40 years. I gathered data and worked day and night to find a solution, but nothing seemed to work.
So that's why you decided to bring Professor Modner here, right?
That's correct. I discovered my father in one of the government's hospitals. He was old, but still very sound of mind. Naturally, he would not cooperate with me.
Of course not. He'd never become involved in something like that.
So, unable to receive his assistance in the hospital,
Right?
nothing seemed to work.
So that's why you decided to bring Professor Modner here, right?
Yes, quite unexpected, I'm afraid. All my research for 40 years.
But your test revealed a critical flaw in your machine's artificial skin.
Yes, quite unexpected, I'm afraid. All my research for 40 years. I gathered data and worked day and night to find a solution, but nothing seemed to work.
So that's why you decided to bring Professor Modner here, right?
That's correct. I discovered my father in one of the government's hospitals. He was old, but still very sound of mind. Naturally,
You just discovered him. He's old but sound of
he
mind.
would not cooperate with me.
Of course not. He'd never become involved in something like that.
So, unable to receive his assistance, I decided that I had to have yours. But a mistake on my part allowed both you and Gillian to be taken into custody by the authorities first.
Just what are you trying to accomplish, Elijah? You must know you can never get Jamie back.
I'm only interested in discovering what I can of the human animal. In the past, it was because of Jamie. My motive is different now.
It sounds like you're just suffering from the wild arrogance that corrupts so many scientists.
Humans are such weak creatures. No matter how much they trust one another, the tiniest speck of suspicion can destroy it all. Look at how the Snatcher problem has caused such wild unrest. No matter how much science advances or how high we set our ideals, we eventually begin to suspect each other, to hate each other, and then to kill each other. The Snatchers are nothing more than a tool for bringing out this reaction. I am simply using the Snatchers to elicit the true nature of the human animal. I think this experiment has shown me the limits of human society. I sincerely doubt it will be able to reach any greater level of prosperity on its own. If human society ever hopes to reach greater heights, what is needed is an absolute leader, a firm ruler who isn't affected by these trivial episodes of mistrust.
You're crazy if you think people would ever obey Snatchers.
Of course they wouldn't, but if they don't know, they cannot object. There has been a time in every age that the people have longed for a god to lead them. As long as they give the people no reason to suspect them, then they can easily become their gods, indeed, a new race of super beings. We are almost there. Once we perfect the artificial skin, Snatchers will transcend man to become this planet's true human beings.
But you'll never get your perfect skin now. Professor Modner is dead.
I no longer have any use for my father. I have a sample of the new skin he developed. Once I've analyzed it, I'll be able to make as much as I need. Or if need be, we could simply culture the keratinized cells, epithelial cells, and melanocytes in the quantities that we need.
What are you talking about? How could you get a sample of perfected artificial skin?
Why don't you take a look at this?
Yeah, his motivation isn't too far from the Patriots. I was thinking about something kind of like that, except the Patriots, I think, are a hell of a lot more compelling because they're plugged into real-life technology. Also, something that Metal Gear Solid 2 felt like it was leading up to that ended up getting dashed as the series went on was some lines that the GWAI says at the end. They say that in the crucible of the White House, a new form of life developed, and that it gradually evolved and became self-aware and conscious. And then that turned out to not be true. Or kind of, sort of, but they were under very human directives from Zero all along. Yeah, the robots are not going haywire on their own. They were being remotely controlled by a villain this whole time. I was not expecting that. I thought that things would get a little more abstract and spiritual with a more Blade Runner-esque ending where the robot starts talking about what it is like to be sentient and self-aware. But it's a guy who's like experimenting with human nature under presumptions of sentience and self-awareness. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna continue on.
We found this in the rubble of Queen's Hospital.
Random.
Oh, an acquaintance of yours?
He's a Snatcher?
That term isn't exactly accurate. This bioroid was constructed by my father without my knowledge. He modeled it after me in my youth. He built it right here in this facility. And not only that, he programmed it to destroy Snatchers. This bioroid caused me serious difficulties.
Okay, so this was the father fighting back after getting captured. And this might have happened in a couple years. Did he say how long he was working with his old father? Did he say when he found his old father just like in a hospital? And his old father was still capable of doing robot work?
It's designed and built far better than my Snatchers. The machine itself thought it was human. My father input memories for it all the way back to childhood. Those too were apparently mine. Haven't you yet realized? Random Hajil is Elijah Modner spelled backwards. How like my father, silly old man. He did virtually overnight what I could not do in 4.
Okay, so the Hajil is supposed to be Elijah? Hajil. Elijah. Yeah, that's translation.
Years of effort.
No.
Furthermore, he makes a bioroid so perfect. Even the bioroid itself believes itself to be real. What's more, the cells of the skin he developed are self-replicating. Once in place, no further transplants or culturing is necessary.
Is he dead?
Its main and locomotive systems are completely shut down. It's just scrap now. But the artificial skin is being kept alive. This we need. With this, we can move to phase 2 of our plan, a full-scale infiltration of the world's major nations.
The summit's already over. You'll never succeed.
What does the summit matter? Nothing holds us back now that we have this perfect skin. We can go anywhere we want, and there will be no way to tell us apart. I will have free control over the world. Nothing will be able to stop me. Politics and free thought will no longer have any meaning. My will alone will decide the course of human history.
You egomaniac. Do you think you can snatch the entire population?
There's a fully automated Snatcher factory under the Kremlin. Even as we speak, scores of new Snatchers are being born.
But no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to snatch the people's heart and soul. What do you hope to gain from this anyway?
Jamie, the human race is composed of fools. But I'm different. I will be its savior. Indeed, not just of mankind, but of all life on the planet.
I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Metal.
In 10 minutes, this church will be struck by a phased particle beam. I am bringing the beam from the attack satellite using GPS and 15 navigational satellites. The beam cannot miss.
Okay. So the villain develops a god complex that might have something to do with being a highly accomplished scientist during the fall of his society. But he also got there through connections with his father, but he's such an idiot that he thinks he's so good at science that he deserves to be God and totally got there. I don't know, like he said it out loud. He said through my father's connections, got the head science job. And nevertheless, though, he still develops the God complex. Like, your little robot sidekick, Metal, seems to have a more psychologically profile than the villain. Simultaneously aware of his shortcomings, but also overinflating his ego's worth. Maybe the God complex is a response to him actually blowing up the lab that killed half the humans' population. Like, maybe after doing something like that, there's no way he wouldn't have ever developed a God complex. Yeah, maybe blowing up the science lab and unleashing the virus that killed half the world's population is the result of an impassioned moment in his youth. He has been unable to keep his mind steady since. By logic of thinking that his life is worth half the planet's deaths, he comes to conclude that he is a God figure. I still, the biggest hole in the plot, though, is where he gets his money.
Have my research destroyed by some souped up.
The psychological motivations are kind of coming together, but the money's not coming together.
Pocket calculator.
Metal, what happened at the summit?
The delegates, worried about the Snatcher menace, voted unanimously to allow the use of nuclear weapons on the city. The military is presently imposing a quarantine on Neo-Kobe.
What? Do they intend to kill everybody?
The populace is in a state of panic. However, they have agreed to lift the quarantine if this church is struck by the phase particle beam.
Oh, yeah. Visually, he reminds me a lot of Major Zero. Val, I'm getting Metal Gear Solid 4 vibes from the confrontation. Even the way it's an old man with a raspy voice talking over 20 minutes with slideshow on the screen. It feels very Metal Gear Solid 4-esque, where multiple generations of wrinkly old men are all showing up at church at a religious site too. They're at a cemetery in Metal Gear Solid 4, and I think there might actually be a church in the background. They're at a church in Snatcher, and you got multiple generations of old men duking out their generational daddy problems at the end of the video game.
This is our last chance. We will handle things here. Gillian, Jamie, you two must flee.
You insignificant mass of metal. You will never.
One moment I detonate. Gillian, run.
Metal, this is crazy.
We can't let a single Snatcher get out of here. And this new artificial skin has to be destroyed as well.
I will not allow some talking strike pile to get away with this. If you were the aiming point for the beam, then I'll just have you thrown out of here. Grab this little one and take him out of here.
Metal!
Cowardly little robot.
You always were a real pain in the butt.
What's that?
What? How did... You're supposed to be deactivated.
Look at that extreme close-up that we got.
Foolish. Shut up. Let's try to make our final moments peaceful, shall we? And you Snatchers, you touch the little guy and the old man's head comes off. Random. I've always hated being used. Why don't you watch the final act with me?
Gillian, you only have 5 minutes. The turbo cycle is just outside on standby. Use that to flee.
Let me go. I'm Elijah Mudner. I'm your original.
I don't care if I'm an original or a copy or what. You and I are gonna die right here. If we both die, there won't be a copy anymore now, will there?
The stupid logic of a simpleton, of a machine.
Whatever it is, it's my will.
Machines have no will. Machines cannot sacrifice themselves.
We'll see about that.
You have 4 minutes. You must go. And don't forget to take care of the factory under the Kremlin.
Stop.
Gillian, even if these memories in my head are fiction. Yeah, I know what you mean. Our memories of our time together are all too real, Random. Gillian, you become one hell of a junker.
Gillian, it is then most recreational being your partner.
Oh, Metal.
If you can, try to pick up the pieces for me all day, like we did for Little John.
Little John? Oh, okay, Metal.
Hurry, you only have 3 minutes.
Thanks. Thanks, you two. Jamie, come on.
No, don't let her go. No.
You pathetic old fool. You don't even know how to love someone.
You stupid machine. What is that idiotic grin supposed to mean?
By snatching you, I'm finally gonna get my real self back.
Random, there's less than 1 minute to go. Thanks to you, everything will be fine.
You don't owe me any thanks. Sorry to get you involved in such a big job. You did great. You're a hell of a junker.
3, 2, 1, here it comes!
Later, kid.
So you're really going, aren't you?
It's our responsibility, too. Besides, if I go to Moscow, I may get some of my memory back.
And if that happens, I'll be able to love you even more than I do now. Wait for me. I want to be with you, but first I've got to destroy this terrible factory of theirs. Jamie, when I get back, let's try living together again. What do you say?
Are they trying to set up a sequel?
We'll be waiting for you too.
Katrina! Mika! You're here too?
You better be happy, Buster, with all these beautiful women seeing you off.
I'm happy you came. Let me introduce my wife.
Jamie Seed. I suppose it's a little odd introducing myself a second time, though.
What do you mean? You've never met them before, have you?
What are you talking about, Gillian? We're good friends.
Huh? Since when?
It's the first time I've met her in person, but I've spoken with her on a video phone a lot of times.
What? Have you guys been talking about me behind my back?
Okay, let's get back to it. All right, talk or look. Oh, did his head turn? Wait, that was a talk. Do I get a new option? The text is not repeating. Ah, there we go.
So have they finalized what they're going to do about Junker operations? I suppose this will end up being our last mission, huh?
Well, originally they were planning on disbanding the team, but now they've decided to keep us in business.
So that means...
That's right. We've been designated as one of the government's special police divisions. That puts us above the regular cops.
So the government has decided that crime by machines poses a bigger threat than crime by humans from here on out, huh?
They've chosen the new chief, too. So when you get back, you'll get to meet the new head honcho.
Well, it's comforting to know I've got a place I can come back to.
Whatever you do, just come home safe, okay? When you get back from this job, you still have a dinner date to keep with me, you know.
Don't worry. I won't forget my promises to either of you. Oops, almost forgot. Of course, I'll want to spend some private moments with my wife, too, huh? What's wrong, Jamie?
Harry and I will be waiting for you to get home.
That's Harry's hat.
We can do it this time, Gillian. Not some fake couple like before, but with love and trust.
I know, Jamie.
Take care, Gillian.
I'll see you, Jamie.
Wait! Wait for me! Take me with you, please!
You? Metal?
Oh no.
Sir, we didn't have a good frame to work with, so this is just a temporary body. Just call me Metal Gear, Sega CD for now.
So they found your memory chip in one piece, eh?
Random protected it from the blast of the beam.
Random, huh?
He keeps doing that.
Wait a second. I've heard that sneeze somewhere before.
Really? I didn't hear anything. Anyway, I want to know if you'll take me with you. Please, Gillian, please take me with you.
Hurry up and get on board, partner.
Yes, sir, Gillian.
Yeah. That would have looked so much better on a CRT screen. I really wish I could have seen that on a CRT screen properly.
Throughout history, suspicion
Oh!
has always bred conflict. The real conflict, though, resides in people's hearts.
Welcome to Power Stone
This
World.
conflict has just begun.
So were they going to include a was creator Hideo Kojima going to include an even sappier segment on racism and why racism is bad until assistant Jeremy Blostein talked him down or something like that? That felt like the end of a 90s movie where the epilogue screen says, "Thank you for the $25. You did it. You snatched her. I barely knew her. Thank you for the $25. That will go to a library of stock music and sound effects that I'm using." Right. So it felt like there was a line there at the very beginning that said, "Throughout human history, suspicion has always bred conflict." But then the next two lines, like, just say, "But forget about that. Get ready for the next Snatcher adventure that may or may not happen. This conflict has only just begun." I feel like they wanted this game to be more about racism than it turned out to be. Like, they keep... It keeps almost coming up to the surface and then someone, like, bashed it back down. That was fun. That was wild. Kojima had nothing to do with the Sega CD port. It is very, very on brand, though, to have cute little references to the hardware that you're playing. So that means that we did play a Kojima game that had a in-game depiction of the hardware you're playing the game on, in full in the grand tradition. You know, I don't know if Death Stranding has references to Sony PlayStation stuff, but it does have references to open world action games. You go around delivering physical copies of the hottest open world action games from the 2010s in Death Stranding. His last version he directly worked on was the PC Engine. A Tale of Souls and Swords, eternally retold. It sounded exactly like that, yeah. I think I just wanted to fade from that into, like, Sophicia taking a bath in a flower field, into Lizard Man twirling his tongue at the camera. I think there's a PlayStation controller in Sam's room. Yeah, it'll be lightweight, but it's there. It's always there. All these Kojima games always gotta remind you of the giant pile of life support equipment under your TV. So, in earlier versions of Snatcher, I think the Sega CD might be the only one that has the Act 3, but I am wondering if there's other versions that have the robot wearing a Nintendo hardware instead of Ray Van Steen is the villain and also Harry. That means that the son, the good son, played the evil grandfather, and the hero who's in the middle is working it out. Chinshu. Oh, right. Wait, he was also Ray Van Steen? Color me surprised. I think the villain's voice actor job might have been the best one of the three. Narrator Ray Van Steen! He's the too! I thought the narrator was Jeremy Blostein. All the fans in Twitch chat, Ramen Guy, Ray Van Steen, everyone is the villain of Snatcher. The Ramen Guy was the villain all along. PC Engine has actually 3. You can look it up in Junker HQ. Okay, so does that mean that Metal Gear Mark II has like a big boxy beige 90s computer? Boston is an extra in Shadow Hearts. So now that was fun. I enjoyed it. But now that we have done Snatcher, where do we go from here? What was I playing before? Was I playing Metal Gear Acid? I could maybe finish Metal Gear Acid, but I really don't know if I enjoyed Metal Gear Acid. I did play a bit of Penguin Adventure. Should we play Castlevania Lords of Shadow? Should we play Zone of the Enders? Or, should we do a different Metal Gear? Maybe we'll take a break from Metal Gear Mondays for a while, and maybe do like 2 or 3 weeks of something else for once in our lives, and then come back to Metal Gear Mondays. Either way, that was great. It was great to knock out another critical hit installment of the Metal Gear intellectual property brand. That's not true. Of the Hideo Kojima-verse brand that I hadn't gotten around to before. Never played through Snatcher. I still kind of feel like to do it right, though, and actually understand the story the way it's meant to be understood and feel all the right emotions without constantly poking holes in everything or questioning some illogical convolution of everything, I would want to do it again and play 1 act per day and really make sure that your mood's reset, because Hideo Kojima games are games you play for the narrative more than mechanics or anything like that. They're about going through the moods, the emotions, to the pacing and order set by author here. Oh yeah, Acid 2 is supposed to be the good one, and I almost forgot. I got a PSP emulator ready to go. I played through most of Acid, but didn't want to finish it. That's enough to know what's going on in Acid 2. Yeah, Acid 2. That'll be a real good candidate. Thank you for the thought. I'll have to decide in a week though, but it'll probably be unless I find something really weird like that Metal Gear smartphone mobile game from 2004. It might be Metal Gear Acid 2. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hearing me out. That was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Snatcher. I give it a solid 8.9.